Building and growing your cities is a major part of Total War, one that I feel has been getting worse since Medieval 2. On this video, we'll be taking a journey throughout the main Total War titles since Rome 1, exploring how these went about population and growing your cities and why I prefer the classic Total War titles. So let's get right into the video. Rome 1 and Medieval 2, the classic games we all know and love. They both feature a proper population system that affects a lot of other systems in the game, and it's integrated wonderfully. It affects taxation, public order, public growth, recruitment, city development, and in Medieval 2 it even affects the conversion rate of towns. The more people you have, the slower the conversion rate is, because there's way more people to convert if the cities are huge. Each town started with the set population number and a certain growth rate that would depend on that region's farming level and buildings in the city. As you recruit or retrain, yes, retrain, because that was a thing in the classic titles, you end up drawing people from the city you're recruiting and retraining from and potentially hindering the town's growth, forcing you to think strategically about where to recruit troops from. When you disband troops, it goes the other way around, and you'll be adding people to the population pool. This makes peasant migration possible, where you recruit them from an overpopulated city and disband them in cities that need population. Cities would be able to level up by passing a certain threshold of population, for example 6,000 for level 3. You could then build the next city hall or wall level and thus access to better buildings and units, effectively teching up through the tech tree. There's no tech tree on the earlier Total War games, but let's just imagine there is. As your population grows, so will what you earn through taxes, and the bigger the cities you trade with, the higher the trade output. Larger populations produce more squalor that affect the public order and grows negatively. This was better than in Medieval 2, as in Rome 1 in the late game. Most factions will have trouble controlling their public order, though it is not impossible with careful management of population and building placement. This made for a great experience, in my humble opinion, that I miss in the newer titles. Empire Total War kept the population system, however, it was a somewhat bare-bones system. Population in Empire Total War is not affected by recruitment or retraining, and upgrading cities is no longer dependent on population, but rather on funds and technology. However, a new system arrived, where as your population grows, there are small villages on the map that do grow. At a certain point, they get unlocked, and you can build one of a few buildings in that place. This was very interesting, but I wish it was a system add-on to the older game's population system. Also, there were now 2 population classes, but I don't think they had any numbers assigned. At the end of the day, the population didn't matter quite as much. It was a poor decision in my opinion, as it removed a strategical layer. It is understandable, however, as in the 1700s there was a lot of people around, but it would have been nice to have the numbers scaled to the same as the armies, to at least represent manpower availability properly. I wish population had been more important, at the very least, in the development of cities themselves. Shogun II is probably the first game without a population number. As such, you can spam units all you want, just like in Empire Total War, for as long as you have money. Conversion is no longer affected by population, since there is no population number, and development of provinces is only based on funds. And food. If you have food, great. If you don't have food, boo. In the first 2 Total Wars, population was a resource that you could manage. In Empire, it was a symbolic number that still affected religion and growth of towns throughout the provinces. But in Shogun II, it is completely done away with. In my opinion, it was a golden opportunity to mix Empire's village growth system with both Rome 1's and Medieval 2's population system, bringing back the so much needed manpower, so important in war that it is. Rome 2 and Warhammers. In both Rome 2 and Warhammer 1 and 2, population works essentially the same way. As you accumulate growth points, you gain population points every time you reach a certain growth point threshold. In Rome 2, you can spend population points to unlock building slots in your settlements. In Warhammer 1 and 2, you can spend population points to level up your settlement's main building, that will in turn unlock building slots. I find this to be extremely gamey or arcadey, if you will. While you may spec your cities for growth to build them up quickly or go some other route adding a bit of strategy, there is not population number. There isn't a population number. There's no manpower. It doesn't affect conversion rates to culture. It's completely abstract and a very unrealistic way to portray populations. In my opinion, it's just downright inferior to what they had in the classic games. Then we go for Three Kingdoms Total War, the new kid on the block. In Three Kingdoms, we saw the population system get closer to the classic titles. Now we have a number, a huge number that really can't simulate a manpower kind of thing, and as such, you can spam units just like the previous titles. It's not to say that you can't do it in the classic titles, but in those you certainly couldn't do it in every city, and there was a real danger of hindering a city's development. So we're kind of where Empire left off, but without the emerging villages in the map as your population grows, and because culture is the same in every city, there is no culture system, however. It is nice to see that population affects public order and taxation. It does not dictate when you can upgrade a city or get better tax, which I wish it did, and the more people you have in a city, the more unrest there will be. A very simple system. Upgrading your city will not lower the spoiler penalty, so in Three Kingdoms, we went back to Empire Total War's population system with a little bit less. For the future, I'm hoping they go further back and integrate the population system fully and effectively with recruitment, culture, tax, public order, population classes, and growth in mind, where every single one of these systems or areas are intertwined. For example, being able to recruit units of a certain culture if you have a certain percentage of people in a settlement that belong to that culture. For example, not being able to recruit noble swords if you don't have enough nobles in the settlement. Not being able to upgrade a settlement if you don't have enough people in it. Well, this was it. These are my thoughts. I really do prefer the earlier games. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. I hope you have enjoyed this little journey through Total War. In the future, I'll be talking about the building system that really matters to me as well. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next ones.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, follow me on Twitch, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you so much.